too many of them.
Master Skywalker, there are too many of them. What are we going to do?
I've seen the endless onslaughts, the ceaseless, tireless waves of evil that desire nothing more than to bring mankind to its knees. But even in the face of such overwhelming odds, we cannot simply give up. No, we must rise to the challenge. Grab hold of your instruments of destruction and rain hell down on them. Force them back into whatever hole they spawned from and seal it so their worthless existence shall never plague us again. Recently, and somewhat by accident, I've played a number of games where it's one man or a small team versus a lot of bad guys. Whether they're zombies, generic military guys, monsters, stomping a horde can be tons of fun or it can be tedious and boring. So, I was just postulating what makes horde destruction games fun. Obviously this is all subjective, but let's go through things that are commonplace in each type of these games. Number 1. What am I killing? This is fairly important in these games because that's pretty much the entirety of the game. And I think when facing the relentless onslaughts, a little variety is good. Not just in enemy mechanics, but in appearance too. You look at a game like Sanctum 2, solid game, but those evil dark blobs don't really do much for me. Now something like Orcs Must Die 2, look at the trolls, look at the kobolds, look at the orcs. You gotta mix it up. You gotta keep me visually stimulated to stave off the monotony. Most games will throw in a sub-boss in there to keep you on your toes too, but they gotta function separately from one another. You gotta have the flyers, you gotta have the crawlers, you gotta have the little fast guys, you gotta get the standard mobs. Number 2. How am I killing them? The meat and potatoes of this type of game is in the literal execution. Games like Dead Rising 4 understand that variety is the spice of murder. Sure, you can drive a truck through a mosh pit of the undead, but despite the kill count climbing, it does get old. So the game lets you MacGyver some spare parts together into fantastic weapons of mass mutilation. On the other end of the spectrum, let's look at something like Dynasty Warriors 8. Yeah, talk about a bland series on this one, am I right? I can pick between several futile lords and proceed to mash 1 or 2 buttons at the soldiers till my gauge is filled up, enough where I can press the 3rd button. Ooh, talk about flair and excitement. Number 3. Why am I killing them? Story is rarely a make-or-break factor when you're in the mood to slaughter wave after wave of uglies, but it helps if the character you're playing as or to protect is at least endearing? So as a positive example, and I'm just as surprised as you, I'm going to go with One Piece Pirate Warriors 3. I'm not too familiar with the show, but the characters you can play as seem so excited and happy to be taking out helpless pirates by the boatload, it's hard not to be along for the ride. Just look at this guy. He's a clown that can segment himself, and he turns into a car to get around. On the other end of the spectrum, you've got Dead Rising 3. I couldn't care less about this guy or the people he's trying to save. Yes, the secret government is bad, but this band of idiots doesn't make me want to help them escape. When I was eaten, I took that as a good, satisfying end of the game. What am I getting out of killing? The endless bodies you leave in your wake of destruction can be its own reward, but oftentimes, as they should, the games of this caliber will grant boons and prizes for killing certain amounts of enemies or with a level of finesse that would please the great Ares. These can be new skills to help kill more effectively, health upgrades, character unlocks, etc., etc. But it's nice to know that the grinding bears fruit. Anyway, I've looked over a number of these similar types of games and devised a handy-dandy Excel spreadsheet for my experience with them. Maybe you disagree with me, and that's fine. If you have fun with any of these titles, then please, just keep killing en masse. I just wanted to ramble these thoughts off because it was on the top of my brain.